Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to Looplearnings, and this is video number 13, and in today's video we will continue with our quest to create inventory management system. I know it's been how many days? 7 days, 8 days I haven't uploaded any tutorial, and that because I was extremely busy, but I kept reading your comments, so thank you very much for your support. And hopefully soon I'll be very frequent in making videos. I know I kept saying this, but trust me, whenever I get time I think about creating video. So here it is. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notification whenever I upload any video. Few subscribers are required to hit the 1000 subscribers mark, so help me in achieving that. Thank you so much for watching my videos as well. Okay, now in this video we are going to focus on inventory management part. When I say that, first thing we need to take care of is the suppliers information that needs to be created first. Okay, because if we create supplier, then we can create purchase orders, and then we can monitor our stock or inventory. So in this video I'm going to create a supplier form. After creating a supplier form, we will come and work on this form basically to fetch information from supplier table and to create functionalities to view and update the existing records or create a new records with the button that will populate here. So without wasting much time, let's go ahead and create a supplier form first. So first I'll close this, I'll close this one as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy an existing form, and to do that simply right click on the forms, copy and paste, and we will call it suppliers. Okay, now what do I need to do? We copy this form because we want to keep the same aesthetic, same design language, same coloring, so that's why I usually copy. But after copying I delete all the fields because these fields are linked to the original actual form which we have copied. So, and then after that, first thing you need to do is change the caption of the form by coming to the property sheet, particularly on format tab, and then go to the data tab of the property sheet of form, and then change the record source. At the moment record source is variants, but we are working on suppliers form, so therefore the record source should be supplier. Okay, now next thing I would like to do is to fetch all the fields basically from the table and pull them and bring it on this form. So I'll go to the property sheet, add existing fields. I'll press Ctrl A on my keyboard in order to select everything, and then I'll drag and drop nicely. Okay, I'll select all. Let's do a little formatting, and I will change the font color to the black. Right click on the fields, layout, and stacked. Okay, I'll stack them together. Next thing I would like to do is to reduce the height between two fields. So we'll go to the arrange, padding, and narrow. All right, okay, then I will increase the width of the labels, and I'll on my keyboard I'll press Ctrl B because I want to make them bold. Okay, and I will select the text boxes. I will increase the width of the text boxes as well. Then I'll do a little bit of formatting in terms of giving proper spacing and making sure that these looks professional. I know if you have already seen, or if you have already done this work, so you don't have to watch this again. What you can do is skip the video to the VBA part. Well, don't skip it, keep watching, nothing will happen. All right. All right, okay, I'm just spending a little bit time. License number, payment method, whether cash or credit, payment terms, status of the supplier, and supply date. All right, now that is done. The next step, what I would like to do is I would unstack all of these fields. Okay, right click on that, layout, and remove the layout. Why did I do that? Well, simply I want to rearrange these fields in a way that these fields looks better, professional. It's all about your work ethics. I've seen applications or softwares where simply, the fields are left wherever they were originally and there were no formatting done, and that is kind of clumsy work. I don't like it. So I usually do this kind of formatting. Okay, now that is done. Just bear with me few more minutes and I promise I'll go to the VBA immediately. I just need to do this setting and it won't take a long time. All right, okay, now let's select these and stack them again. Narrow, arrange, narrow. Okay, now what I would like to do is have a header of each sections. So form design will grab this object called option group and we will drag and drop where we want, and I will just change general information. We'll make it full black. We'll make font a little smaller. Double click here. Okay, that looks good. We'll copy the entire thing. Now let's reduce the height of it. And then we will paste it here and in here. Copy this again. All right, I know you might be bored, so I'm done with the formatting almost. All right, here we go. We'll just change this header, supplier information, and in here license and payment information. We'll move these buttons here. I want these fields to be non-editable, so I'll select all. We'll go to the property sheet, data tab, enable the no, locked yes, and we will change the background color to lightest gray. Okay, now I will go to the form design. Looks better, right? Much better. Okay, no, there is a little problem here. Not much better. Okay, how about now? see it again. We'll go to the form view. Now better. Okay, now after formatting we are going to do a VB coding behind these two buttons. And if you have been watching my videos, the sequence will remain same. So first of all, we'll check some conditions, and then after that we will create a new record, and we will do the VB coding to create a log as well that a new record has been created. Okay, so let's go to the design view. We'll select this save button, event tab, on click event, and there is a code already, and that's because we have copied this form. So I'm going to delete this code. We'll do a new VB coding here. All right, and first thing first, I will check if the supplier is already marked inactive, status is inactive. If that's the case, then it is not required to update anything or change anything because it is already been marked inactive. So if me.status not state status dot value is equal to inactive, then to cmd.beep message box, this action cannot be performed as the supplier has already been marked inactive. Okay, VB critical and information. Else if me.status again status dot value is equal to active. So if the status is active, and that means somebody is trying to just update the information, then do allow them because the supplier is active. Okay, to cmd.save message box, the updates to the supplier information has successfully been made. Okay, VB information. Okay, after checking these two conditions, we need to check which field we want to make mandatory, and those fields we want to have this code blocks created. So we want supplier name, contact person, contact email, phone, country, address, license number, payment method, payment terms. These are mandatory fields. So we'll go to the else if is null me dot supplier name dot value is equal to true, then to cmd.beep message box, please provide the supplier name to proceed further. Okay, VB information, no, VB critical, because that's an error we are displaying. So we will set focus also, me.supplier name dot set focus. All right, now let's, instead of just typing it again and again, let's copy and paste. So God bless who invented copy and paste. Contact person, we'll check that field also, it's also mandatory. So we'll set focus, contact person name We'll copy again. This time we'll check the email, contact email. All right, we'll copy that. Hopefully you're following me. Hopefully you're not wondering what is happening. So I'm just checking, I'm putting this condition on that some fields are mandatory in this form and they have to be filled in. Without those, the data cannot be created, and for those fields I am creating these code blocks. Okay, that's what I'm doing. We need phone number, very important. Okay, all right, that's 3 times copied. So phone number. Then what next? Country. I think the country at which supplier, from which supplier belongs to. Country name. Okay, after that we want address as well. Address is also important. Supplier address you need to know. If in case any supplying issues, then you can it should be address only. Okay, please provide the supplier's address to proceed further. All right, license number, payment method, payment terms. These also we don't want. License number, please provide the supplier license information. That is mandatory. And then we have payment methods. Okay, payment method information. Then last is the payment term. Please provide the payment terms information. Okay, else if that is all false, all these conditions are false, then go ahead and create a new supplier. Okay, so that means we auto populate some information. So location ID created on, status date. So first we auto populate this information. How do we do that? Well, of course with VBA. What else we will use? So we'll say location ID dot value, which location is creating this record, and for sure we want to get that information, and we will get it from main dashboard. So this is the location ID. We will fetch information from here. Okay, LVL caption ID, LVL location ID dot caption. All right, created on status date, me dot status dot value is equal to, by default it should be active, me dot status date dot value is equal to now, and do cmd dot save. Okay, now are we done yet? No, we are not done yet. Remember, I spoke about this table. This is a user log activity table. So whenever user create, update or delete record, that information needs to be captured in this particular table. And how we are going to do that? Well, we are going to achieve that using record sets. Okay, so to use record sets, first we will have to declare a variable. So we'll say dim activity as a record set. Okay, now Microsoft Access is asking, all right, great, so you have asked me to create a record set. I've already created. Now you tell me what is this record set means. So that I will tell. Set activity is equal to current DB, meaning the current database that we are working on, dot open record set. So we want a record set to be opened from the current Access application that we are currently working on, and which record set we should open, that we need to tell, and that is user activity. All right, now Microsoft Access is wondering, okay, you have asked me to create variable, I've created. You told me that this variable is called activity is equal to user activity record set. Now what do you want me to do? That's what Access is asking. We are telling the Access, hey Mr. Miss Access, activity dot add new. We want to add a new record into activity variable, and activity variable is equal to user activity table. I hope you are understanding the link between these. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Microsoft Access what information will appear in this record set. That means in each column, right, in a new row of each column, and from where it should come from, and that we need to give instructions now. So first column is location ID. That's what record set requires to have. So we'll say activity ID, activity exclamation mark location ID is equal to me dot location ID. Simple as that. So basically we're telling, okay, bring in the location number and paste here in a new record in this column, but bring it from here, because this is the form we are working on, right? Suppliers form. So from this form, from this field particularly, copy whatever the location ID number is there and paste it here. That's what we have done. Next piece of information we need to provide is action type. That would be hard coded. So action type, and it would be new record. So that's what is happening, right? That's the action is happening. New record is being created. Now it wants which documents or which form or report or query we are using to create that new record. So currently we are using the form, and the form name we will capture that as well. Okay, so that information we need to provide. So refdoc is equal to me.name. Me.name mean whatever form that we are working on at the moment. In this scenario, the suppliers form, that will be captured and populated here. Now what record number you are creating, that's what it is asking also. So activity exclamation mark refdoc num is equal to me dot supplier ID. Okay, that's what we are creating, correct? Description, all right, activity exclamation mark description is equal to user has created new supplier. That's what user has done, right? Actioned on, so activity exclamation mark actioned on is equal to now. Actioned by activity actioned by is equal to, well, we want to capture the name of the person who has actually created that record, and we will do that from the main form. Okay, that's the login pad, and we will give reference of forms main, and from main form we want whatever name is populated in this label called LBL name. After that, activity dot update. Then we will say do cmd dot beep and throw a message box. The supplier information has successfully been created. Okay, VB information. So a good thing has happened, so that's why information. All right, cool, looks good. And if right, so we have done successfully the coding behind save button. Now let's go ahead and tackle another button called mark inactive. So this button is used to mark a existing record as inactive, like a supplier. For example, if one particular supplier you are no longer doing business, then rather than deleting the record of that supplier, you can mark those supplier as inactive. And to do that, I will click on mark inactive button. We'll go to the event tab and dot dot dot. In here there is already code, so I'm going to delete that code block except the error handling code. Mark inactive button will check a couple of things. First, we will check if the record has been selected to mark that record inactive. Then we will check if that record is already been marked inactive, then we will throw another message. So these couple of conditions we will check. So if is null, me dot supplier id dot value is equal to true, then to cmd dot beep message box, please we'll say please please choose the supplier record in order to proceed further. Okay, VB critical information. Else if me dot status dot value is equal to inactive, then if the status is already inactive, then throw a message box to cmd dot beep message box. This action cannot be performed as the supplier is already marked inactive. Okay, and this would be critical as well. All right, if these both are false, then throw a message box, confirmation message box saying, hey, you are about to mark this supplier as inactive, are you sure to do that? Ask them again and again. So confirmation would do that by creating a variable. So we'll say dim response as integer. Okay, then we'll say do cmd dot beep and we'll say response is equal to message box. You are about to mark the selected supplier as inactive. Are you sure to proceed further? Okay, will be critical. No, not VB critical. VB yes and no, my man. VB yes and no plus will be question, because here we are asking user to choose an option, so it won't be a generic message box, it would be an interactive message box. So if response is equal to VBS then to cmd.beep, well, first of all, me.status dot value is equal to status should be changed to inactive. Me dot status date dot value is equal to now. Then give a beep sound and throw a message box. The selected supplier has been marked inactive. Done. Job done. Done. So VB information and information. Else, if user clicks on no, then do nothing, my friend. And if and boom, and if more. Okay, cool. So this is done, and that was the mark inactive button. All right, cool. Let's debug it. Already done that, no problem at all. Now we are done with supplier form. We will do the testing very soon, but first let's handle this form as well. Now what we need to do is go to the form view, we'll go to the inventory management, supplier tab. So what I want to do is, what I want to happen when I click on supplier button is a couple of things. First, I want this field to be updated with whatever the caption of this button. So at the moment it is supplies. Then I want a button gets populated here, and that button should say create supplier, and I want the existing information from the suppliers table to be fetched and to be displayed in this list box. And if I double click on that one record, then I should be able to see that particular record, so I can make changes, update the information if required to do so. And that's what I'm going to demonstrate now for the rest of the video. I hope you are not bored. I hope that you're learning at the same time. Let's go and quickly handle this as well. So I'll click on the first button. We'll go to the event tab, ... and I will give a space a little bit, and I will come here and I will say okay. So else if me.btn1.caption is equal to suppliers, then okay, so if that button's caption is suppliers, then what should happen? Well, me.txt now viewing dot value is equal to me.btn1.caption. Okay, so whatever the caption of this button, that should be copied here. And remember, now viewing is very important text box. You would know with the progress of this video and other videos as well. So that's why it's very important to capture the information in there. Then I want me.btn create dot visible is equal to true. Okay, me.btn create dot caption to be changed to create supplier. Okay, after that, as I mentioned, I want this list box to be auto-populated with the existing record from the suppliers table. So supplier table is here. So from this table, we'll get the record, fetch the record, and then we'll populate it here. What record? We will have to define that in here. So I'll say me.dynamic list dot row source. Now what is dynamic list? What is row source? Well, this is the dynamic list. The list box which I'm talking about is called dynamic list. So we have to change the row source of this list box. Okay, row source. All right, cool. So equal to, and we'll achieve that with the help of SQL statement, particularly select statement. So we'll say select what? That's what SQL statement is asking now. Well, select supplier ID, comma, supplier name, comma, contact person, comma, perhaps country, comma, license number, comma, status. Now we want to fetch this information from where? From this table called supplier. From supplier. Okay, done that. Now whenever we are working on the list boxes, we have to define the characteristic properties of the list box. So the first property I want to define is me.dynamicList.column count. So first of all, I want to define how many columns should appear on that list box. And how do we know that? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 columns. Then we'll turn off the heading dynamic list dot column heads is equal to true. Then we will define the width of each column. Column width equal to, we can define the width amazing. Okay, so we'll define the column widths. And how do we check how we determine the width? Well, first column is supplier ID, so it is important, but we don't want to see it on the list box, so we'll keep it as 0 centimeter width of the column. Then supplier name, of course it should be bigger. Then we have contact person, let's keep it at 3 centimeter, country 3 centimeter, then we have license number 3 centimeter, then we have status 2 centimeters. And keep in mind, we can always come back and change the widths if we require to do so. Alright, so that is done. Now I want to do the VB coding behind this create button. So when user click on create button, the message box should appear, hey, do you want to create a new supplier? And the user should confirm again yes or no, and then accordingly it should proceed further. So I'll go to the event tab on click, and we can see there is already some coding. That's because this button is also being used multiple times, and we'll do the coding here. So we'll say else if me.txt now viewing dot value is equal to suppliers, then toCMD.beep response is equal to message box. You are about to create a new supplier. Are you sure to proceed further? Question mark. VB yes no plus VB question comma information. Not information, this is interactive, so choose an option. That should be the heading. If response is equal to VB yes, then open the form. toCMD dot open form. Which form? Well, suppliers. That's the form name, right? Suppliers. Alright, cool. But I want to open this form in add mode. Then after that, if user clicks on no, then simply do nothing. And if. That's it. Debug it, save it, everything seems to be okay. Last action or last VB code we need to do is double click, and when user double click on this list box, then that selected record should open. Okay, so we'll go to the code block here. I'll simply copy this and paste in here. So if txt now viewing is equal to suppliers, then open the suppliers form using the supplier ID. Okay, compile it, debug it, everything seems to be okay. Let's test it out. So whatever work we have done, it's time to test. Alright, cool. We'll go right in to inventory management, supplier. So we are getting whatever we required, but because there is no record created, supplier record created, that's why we are seeing this as a empty. Now let's create a new supplier. So I'll click here. So it seems to be working well. Click on yes. Yes, it is working. So we'll say ABC Corporation. That's the supplier name. Let's say contact person, let's say Mr. ABC. Title sales manager. Contact email, let's say sales manager at abc.com. Phone, random phone number. City, let's say this city. This state, this country. Okay, address, this city, this state, this country. Cool address, right? License information, I will just randomly use something. Payment method, cash or credit. So if it is cash, then payment terms would be 0, because cash, of course, there is no credit limit. If it is credit, then you can define how many days of credit. And if everything goes well, we'll click on save. The record should be created. And the message box came back. The supplier information has successfully been created. It looks like it worked everything. Let's test it out, and rest assured we are getting the information here. We double click, the form opens, and if we will go to the user activity is also created as well. So that is it. That's how you create a form. You then map the information, fetch the information, bring it on list box in order to give functionality for user to view or edit or change the information whenever they require to do so. And that's how you do it in Microsoft Access with VBA. I hope that you have learned something. Thank you very much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. Hit the bell icon so you get notification whenever I upload any video. Thank you very much again.